Hello, lovelies. If you found yourself in a weeknight dinner rut, then today you have come to the right place because I am sharing a quick, easy, and healthy recipe for this absolutely amazing lemon shrimp risotto that I think you're going to love. This is the perfect recipe if you're looking for something that's light and fresh tasting, but still really filling. And you won't believe how easy it is to throw together all in one pan. Now, when it comes to choosing proteins for busy weeknight cooking, nothing beats shrimp because it cooks up in absolutely no time. It usually takes 3 or 4 minutes max. So I've got a nice big skillet heating up over medium-high heat. And to that, I'm just adding a little bit of olive oil. Now, as soon as my oil is hot, I'm gonna go ahead and add my shrimp to the pan. So we're gonna season it with a little bit of salt and pepper and then let it cook for maybe 2 or 3 minutes on the first side. Then we're going to flip our shrimp, season it up on the other side, and let it cook away until it's nice and bright pink and opaque. Now, when it comes to cooking shrimp, guys, the most important thing is not overcooking it. Overcooking your shrimp is going to make it really tough and not as enjoyable. One of the most amazing things about shrimp is that it has a built-in mechanism to tell you when it's done, so there's no guessing. As soon as it's nice and pink, you can remove your shrimp to a clean bowl and set it aside while we get to work on our amazing risotto for this dish. I, of course, could eat all of this tastiness just as it is, but we're gonna set it aside and get to work on mixing up our rice. Now, in the same pan, I'm gonna get started by cooking up some shallot. I absolutely love shallot. You could use onion if you don't have shallot on hand. I think shallot has a nice mellow flavor, which I am totally into. And because your pan's nice and hot, that shallot's gonna become fragrant right away. I'm also going to be adding a whole lot of garlic to this because we know that shrimp and garlic were just meant to be together. And we'll give that another 15 to 30 seconds just to heat up. It will hit your nostrils immediately and start to smell so good. Next, I'm going to get my rice into the pan. Now, for this recipe, I'm using arborio rice, which is also known as Italian style rice. And I love it because it gets this really nice creamy texture during the cooking process. I'm just going to let it heat up with that shallot and that garlic for about a minute or so. And then the next step, which is totally optional, but I think always delicious, is adding a good splash of white wine to this. Now, if you're not into cooking with wine, you absolutely can leave it out. It's totally up to you. But I find the wine just adds another sort of dimension of flavor to this dish that I really, really love. The alcohol cooks off and all you're left with is that amazing taste. And just as soon as that white wine has fully evaporated, we can go ahead and add our broth into the pot. Now, I'm using chicken broth here, but seafood broth would also work really well in this recipe. Just depends on what you have on hand in your pantry. Now, I will admit to you guys, this is what I call a bit of a cheater's risotto. A traditional risotto is made by adding hot broth to your rice 1 cup at a time until it absorbs, which gives you this nice sort of rich, creamy texture. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. But these days, I do not have the time or the patience to make a traditional risotto. So I'm just pouring all of my liquid in here, going to bring it to a boil. And then as soon as it's reached a boil, I'm going to reduce my heat to low, pop a lid on my pan, and then just let it cook away the way you cook traditional rice. What we're looking for is for that rice to get nice and tender, which usually takes about 15 minutes or so, and then we can add our finishing ingredients. Now, at this point, you are in flavor heaven. This smells so super good, and it's just about ready to enjoy. So to this, I'm going to be adding a little bit of lemon zest and some juice because I just want to brighten up all those savory flavors with something really sort of fresh. And what goes better with shrimp than lemon? Come on. I also want to add a bit of savory flavor here, courtesy of some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. The Parmesan is optional in this recipe, but I do think it adds a really beautiful flavor. And then the final step is adding some much needed green to this dish. So I'm doing that today with some baby arugula. The greens, again, are optional here, but come on, who doesn't want to sneak more nutrition in when they can? If you're not a fan of arugula, go ahead and use some spinach or some kale instead. I love arugula because it's got a nice peppery finish, and it's such a perfect complement with all of this nice savory rice. Just as soon as that arugula has had a chance to wilt down, after about a minute or so, this amazing rice dish is ready to be served, topped with that incredible shrimp that we cooked earlier. And oh my gosh, guys, this dish is an absolute winner. It's light and fresh and citrusy, but it's also really, really satisfying, so you'll feel really good about eating it. I hope you love it as much as I do, and if you give it a try for yourselves, don't forget to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because I always love seeing your kitchen creations. Remember, this recipe, like all of our recipes, is available on healthymealplans.com, our amazing meal planning site that allows you to browse more than 1,000 recipes, drag and drop them into your weekly meal plan, and then automatically generates your grocery list for the week. If you haven't checked it out yet, I hope you will. It will make your life in the kitchen so much easier. Thank you as always for watching, and finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.